Hello, everyone. It's Jaden for Student Pages once again. I hope you're all doing well. Today we have another artist interview for you guys. We are here with LLOREN. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Very good to hear. So, if you could just give everyone a little bit of a background rundown as to how you sort of got into the music industry and that kind of thing.
How I got into the music industry, well, I was on a very well-known TV show.
It was The
I was
Voice, right?
Yes, I was a finalist in The
Yep.
Voice in 2018, but I think a lot of people think, oh, that must be the start of your career. But I actually didn't do anything for like 2 years after that. I finished my uni degree in music production and decided I wanted to get into TV and film music. So went to a bunch of talks on that and played my stuff to people and kind of it worked out. It just worked out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, you say you got started on The Voice. So, I suppose, if we were to run back and sort of take a look at that, what was sort of I don't know, the catalyst that sort of got you to put yourself on there and sort of what sort of drove that decision?
Well, I'd always performed and sung, and my family were all very musical. Like we do regular sing songs, and I don't know. I think, I come from a very small town, like it's a little seaside town, and I would go gig and play shows in the local pub. But I just wanted to see if I had something. Because people, friends are always going to say you've got it, kid, or like your family are always going to be like, you have something. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought I would give it a try and see how far I could get. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting to get where I got, so it was pretty cool. It was
Yeah,
great.
you got really far in. And I mean, would you suggest it to people? Like if people are wanting to get the voice out there, would you sort of suggest going on a show like that?
Absolutely. I think for me, it was a really great experience. I think a lot of people think if you go on a show like that, that's it. That's what you need to do to break a career. And I think if you're going in it with that mindset, maybe sort of just rethink how you're framing it. If you're going for the experience and for the fact that it's actually a great way to pull in fans that wouldn't necessarily see you and just have it as it's basically free primetime advertising for what you do, then yeah, there's literally no downside. I think yeah, if you're going in it thinking right, I'm going to get a record deal and that's it, and then my career is made, then maybe like backtrack a little bit and think right, bigger picture.
Yeah, it's not that simple, I guess. No.
No, well, they're there to make a TV show, and I think a lot of people forget that, with these sorts of shows, that they're not actually there necessarily to break artists. They're there just to create entertaining television. So I think if you can get on board with that, then it's just lots of fun and an amazing experience, and you get to do your thing at a level that you wouldn't necessarily get to do. I mean, God, I was singing in pubs, like the fact that
Yeah.
I could stand on a stage in front of all those people and have it aired to millions of people at home was just, with the production and the lights and the everything and live band, it was super super cool. So yeah.
Yeah, pretty genius from sort of a I don't know, like what do you call it? Advertising perspective, if you are
Yeah,
wanting to sort
yeah,
of, say who
absolutely.
you are, it's like what better way?
Yeah, I kind of wish I knew who I was as an artist a little bit more before I went on the show. I mean, that was obviously gave me a bit of a fire, and I know who I am now as a writer and as an artist as a whole. But yeah, if you already know who you are and you're like, I'm ready to show the world what I do, just yeah, use it as an advertising opportunity. But why
You're sort
not?
of annoyed you didn't you're sort of annoyed you didn't get on the stage and you're like, this is my Instagram, this is my email,
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
me up,
exactly. Check out my handles. Yeah, I had zero music out at the time, and yeah, like I said, it was like 2 years before I actually put anything out and did anything. So I feel like, yeah, not a wasted opportunity because it was amazing. It was so much fun, but I feel like I definitely could have utilized that opportunity better.
Yeah, no, but hey, I mean, if we fast forward to now, you have just released either you've just released or you're about to release What Dreamers Do, if I'm
I'm
right.
just about to release What Dreamers Do, so
So I
yeah,
got I got to listen early. Cool. Okay.
yes.
So yeah, I did give the song a listen. I really do like it. It's a very sort of upbeat melody. It's like really, really my kind of music. So for that song specifically then, what was kind of the inspiration and like creative process behind getting it made?
So, I mean, I was I was in LA at the time on a writing trip, and my album is called "It's Always Sunny in LA," and it is always sunny in LA, but sometimes just not quite feeling it. And I was really kind of a bit like I was at my friend's, and I was sat on the sofa and wrapped up in my cardigan, sort of watching TV with the dogs. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? You are in one of the most exciting, vibrant cities in the entire world. It's one of your favorite cities in the entire world. Why are you sat on the sofa just feeling meh? And so I started writing What Dreamers Do, and I went into the studio a couple of days later with my friend Anna, and we started creating the music to it, and it just came out. Yeah, it came out like a bit of a message that I was telling myself. It was like, um if you want to do this is the land of opportunity. Like you have to get up and go, girl. You have to take it. You have to see the magic that's all around you. And that's basically what the song is about. It's about seeing the magic in life even when you haven't maybe necessarily been feeling it. So yeah, sounds
Yeah.
cheesy as hell when I say it like that, but I don't
No, no,
know.
not really. I think there's a lot of songs, isn't there, that sort of come from that sort of angle, but I think it's really nice that you actually used it as a means of, not only obviously the obvious giving people new music, but also kind of just to motivate yourself. I think
Yeah,
that's a
pep
really
talk.
cool creative outlet, really.
Yeah, I needed a pep talk, so who better than to give yourself a pep talk? Like I feel
And
like,
then
yeah,
yourself, yeah.
yeah. No one knows
Nah,
better than
smart.
you.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, you're not doing it all on your own. It's like I assume you have got plenty of people around you who sort of, like you said earlier, have wanted you to do this and that kind of thing. So, how have the people in your life sort of felt about what you're doing now? It's like, has it been all support? Has there been any, oh, I don't know, or has it been all very nice and supportive?
I mean, I've pretty much always had support in terms of like, go do it, but I don't know that I've ever had, like I've kind of had to do it myself or figure it out myself. Like, uh, you know, I wouldn't say it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't expect anything. I don't expect anything from anyone, if you know what I mean. It's amazing to have people's support, and when they want to stream your music, that's great. But like, I also appreciate that friends and family might not even like my music. So my fans are my fans. Some of my friends are my fans. Some of them might not like it, but they'll still show up and support if I have a gig. But I don't, yeah, I don't expect anything other than um to just moral support.
They'd be pretty bad friends, to be fair, if you're like, oh, I'm doing a gig. It's like, you should come on. And they're like, nah.
Yeah, nah, not for me. This is rubbish.
Yeah, no, maybe not. You might want to not speak to them people anymore.
Yeah, but I like now
Um,
music, Lauren. Yours is far too vanilla.
So, I mean, I guess I speak about this quite a lot usually in the interviews because it is something I'm always curious of, especially given that you were on The Voice. It's like I think for sort of bigger artists, it's critics that are a big problem. But like, have
Hmm.
you had any sort of run-ins with sort of negative backlash online or like any internet people? Because everyone's got a different story with it, I
It's
think.
funny that you say The Voice because that was probably the time that I guess it's the most exposure I've had. So I think I had some guy tweet at me, I would rather put fire ants in my ear than listen to my
No
name was
way.
Lauren Bannon, which I went on it. Yeah, he said that. I tweeted him back. I was like, go on then. No one's forcing you to
Like
listen to
video it,
me.
show us it.
No one's making you listen to my music. Generally, it's usually very nice. I think when people are like that, it's just really funny because you're like, I don't know, it's so extreme. I think I would be so much more offended if someone was like, "Oh, it's nice, dear. You're just not my cup of tea." I'd probably be a bit like,
Yeah.
what did I do? But when someone's that extreme with their hatred of what you do, you kind of just have to laugh and be like, okay, you're having a bad day.
You'll drive yourself nuts otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the opposite end of the stick to that, then I guess it's like I've got to assume there was more positive stuff said than there was negative during that time. I mean, how did that feel as well? Sort of having all these voices coming to you saying, "Oh, this was great" and things like that. That must have been nice.
Oh, it's amazing. The downside is obviously when the TV show is over and then you go back to your normal life, is like you just have to fill that void with something. else. But it's great because you then write loads of music, and you know, if you weren't taught, if we weren't tortured artists, where would the art come from? You know. But yeah, generally, it's an amazing feeling whenever somebody says something nice. I did a show in London last night and had some like really lovely feedback, and it just feels so good. Like usually we're not in this for the money because money is elusive and not guaranteed in this game.
Yeah.
So we're in it for the glory. So when people say lovely things, it is just it's the best, and it means so much. Like you know, even if it's just a nice comment on social media, or somebody saying what a song has meant to them, it just feels like right. This is why we do it.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. I suppose it's nice to know that your art isn't only affecting you and it is actually reaching people. I mean, I feel like everything I'm asking is really drab, but like, has sort of your creative process and making music and things like that, has that ever got you past a particularly hard time in your life, or has it sort of just been a hobby?
Weirdly enough, like I feel like when I've been really, really down in the dumps, I mean, I ended a 13-year relationship, and
Wow.
um, life was kind of looking a little grey. I actually found that I was writing probably some of the happiest music, and I feel like it was like an escapism thing for me. And previous to this album, before I wrote the album It's Always Sunny in LA, I had always written a lot of kind of dark, epic trailer music. I do a lot of TV film music, that sort of stuff, and it's of that. And I still love writing that, but it's, you know, that's kind of like, you know, fighty, like we're going to battle kind of, you know, this sort of big stuff, and then none of it was very happy. And then yeah, I had this kind of sad moment in my life, and I spent a lot of time over in the States in the sunshine to try and cheer myself up, and wrote this really, really happy album. But it's fine now because I'm actually really happy, and now singing the really happy songs is even better. But but yeah, it's the complete opposite way around of the way you would think it would go. You'd think, yeah,
Yeah, no, that is
the
really
other way around.
interesting because yeah, because sort of like the movies and stuff portray it as like when you have a hard time, you suddenly start singing about I'm so sad.
I
Why does everybody
know, I
hate me?
know.
You know, but it's like no, but evidently not, I guess.
Yeah. I also feel like sometimes like I need like processing time. Like I've written about sad things as well when I've actually been in a really good place. And I feel like I just wouldn't have been capable or been able to draw from those feelings or tap into the, you know, when you're living in it, you're like, oh, I can't, you know, just this is unmanageable. But having a bit of space and time kind of, I think, allows, you know, you to process things, and then you can kind of in a healed space go back to that and tap into that. But I think that's what artists do, is we're here to like sort of tap into those emotions and draw from those things, hopefully at any point, because you know we're not always just writing for ourselves. Like I write for other people as well, and people don't always want to write what you're in the mood to write. You know, you've got to
Yeah,
switch on and be able to draw from that. So yeah.
that's really cool. I mean, harking back a second, so because you said you worked on like trailer music and stuff, that's really interesting because like I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone that's worked on something like that. Because total side tangent here, but it's like I make films with my friends and stuff like that, so I have to make trailers for them, and I've always loved like sort of the very like someone will take a song that already exists and then the trailer version of it will be so much punchier and like I
Yeah, or
love it.
like
You know what I
dark
mean? It's
and
like
moody, and you twist something on its head
yeah.
you feel like was, you know, it might be, I mean, like it might be a song that has a completely different sort of meaning or context, and you take it out of its context and you put some sort of dark, drony thing behind it, and you can just change up the mood completely and make people really listen to the lyrics, which I think is always so interesting when you get a chance to hear the lyrics with a different context behind something, and maybe a different context to what the original artist or writer had intended. I think that's something that's very cool, about like trailer music and TV music.
Yeah, no, that is really neat because I did always wonder sort of how that must have been like, but yeah, it must be really strange. You're almost like recontextualizing a song. It's like that's really nutty to think about. And again, sort of going back even further now to when we were talking about social media. For you personally, how important is the social media aspect of things? Because I don't know, I've spoken to people who sort of are quite against it and actually think it's quite negative for artists, but then we've spoken to some where it's been like an irreplaceable tool. So where do you sort of lie on that?
I think it's a funny one. I think it's such a useful tool. And again, it is very, it's free advertising. So if you're an artist and you want to put your stuff out there, like it makes sense. But there is the other side of it that it can be really frustrating and really draining, especially when the algorithm isn't algorithming and and you're there
Yeah.
stuck in like 200 view jail and you're just thinking, oh my god, like does my content suck? Do I suck? Am I not good? Which is not really great for you or your mental health. So I mean, I try to sort of give time to it when I'm feeling like I can, that I can cope with whatever. And then times when I feel like, do you know what? I have a fragile ego right now. Like I don't think I can take the hit. Then I'll tend to sort of distance myself. But it is, it's designed to be addictive as well. So it's kind of one of those things where in an ideal world, it would be just nothing but benefits. But I think knowing how much time to put into something and when to step back and go, hang on a minute, I'm getting addicted to the likes, is really important, which takes a lot of self-awareness, and I'm not sure I have the strength all the time. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I think it's both positive and negative. It depends on how you use it.
yeah, no, you said the word algorithm and I felt a shiver go down my
I know,
spine
it's
because
like, oh.
it's frustrating. Like you'll post something, it'll get like again, I'm going off of my stats here. Yours might be different. I'll post something, I'll get like 50 likes. I'll think, oh, that's done quite well. People like this. So then I'll post something similar 2 days later, and it'll be like 10. And I'm like, well, you're clearly just not pushing it,
Yeah,
Instagram. Like
yeah.
this
You're
isn't
like,
me.
exactly.
You're just
What
not
have I
showing
done
anyone this.
different? Yeah. So I'm gonna start whispering to my phone and being like, I'm gonna quit TikTok unless I get 1,000 likes on my next post.
I
Or
know
like,
you're listening. I
that's
know you're
it.
listening. Don't pretend you're not now.
Instagram is done. And just see if that makes a difference.
Should like do what they do in the torture films. You should hold down on it and like hover your finger over the X, and you're like, I'll do
Yeah.
it. I'll do it. Oh dear.
I
Yeah,
might
no, it's
try threatening my phone, see if that works.
yeah, no, it is a frustrating one, I suppose. So taking a look at like the wider picture of things as like a music artist, how important would you say it is to know other people that are doing something similar to you? Like, do you sort of have that collaborative relationship with other artists, or have you sort of figured it out on your own?
Well, 100% I have a collaborative community. I've released a lot of things with composers, friends, or I've written for other people, or I think that it's important not just like working, but having a community in general, because at the end of the day, it's a solo trip. And when you're not working in, an office environment or an environment where you have like other colleagues and other people, it can be really, really isolating, especially if you're just going off. Like I've got a studio in my spare bedroom, and like if I'm just sat there all day, I might not see anyone all week. So having other people to sort of connect with and talk with is really, really important. And also just to like sort of bounce off of each other, and like we were just talking about, algorithm gives you a chill, like that sort of stuff. It's so important to talk to other people that get it, and that are trying to do similar things, because otherwise you can end up being so hard on yourself and being like, oh, why am I not doing this, or why have I not it's, yeah, community, super, super important. And also it's just nice to have people to share your wins with and to share their wins with, and just it's feels better. We're not
Yeah,
designed to
and
be.
the opposite end as well, where it's like, is your stuff also not doing well at the minute?
Yeah, yeah. You're like, are you? Yeah, me too. Okay, great, good. Because I thought that was just me.
Yeah, no, no. I suppose it must be nice. I think it goes with any sort of career, really, doesn't it? When you've got to have people that do what you do, otherwise you are just going to drive yourself nuts thinking you're the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And just people to have conversations with, or like to troubleshoot. You're like, oh, okay. For me, I use Logic is like my door, which is what I work in. So sometimes things are glitchy and you just want to call somebody and be like, it's not working. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I doing something wrong?
Tech support.
Yeah, exactly. Just having tech support is great, especially for me because I like
Yeah.
hell technology. For some reason, I managed to like it just doesn't like me.
Well, I feel like everyone on the planet that's ever used a computer has that relationship, really. It's like it never works when you want it to, and then when you're working on something on a whim, it's like, sure,
Yeah.
decides to have a great day. So setting aside music like completely, what do you do in your free time? Like, have you got any other sort of hobbies that you're into, or
Free time. Um,
no?
no, music consumes me. No, I do. I like to cook. Um, I like to paint when I get the time to. I like to sew, but I'm really terrible at it. But I like to think that maybe one day I'll improve, and it's just, a learning block. But I don't know if I actually like to sew. I just like to have clothes that fit me, and I don't have the money to pay like a seamstress to make my clothes look good. So that would be a hobby. Travel. I love traveling. If I get an opportunity to go see another country, I am there. Reading, writing poetry. Basically, yeah, I'm a multi hobbyist. Like if there's a hobby
Yeah,
like that,
just
I probably tried it.
anything remotely creatively stimulating is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, I don't always get to, I very rarely get time to do all of them, but yeah, if there's a hobby, candle making, I did candle making at Christmas, jam making at Christmas. Like literally, yeah, if
That
I
is
can do
random,
something.
isn't it?
Oh, I got clay which I need to finish using. Don't know what I'm going to make out of that yet. Up in the loft, I have this like special clay which turns into silver when you fire it, which I haven't even tried yet, but I'm very excited to try that. You can make your own jewelry. Yeah,
That's mad.
basically, I probably have ADHD. I just
Hey,
like,
well, there's
and I drop them,
nothing.
and then music's the only thing that I keep going back to. So
I know claymaking's awesome. I had some as a kid where sort of you'd make something, it'd self-harden, so then you'd like have a little figurine of whatever you made or whatever. I used to like that because then you paint it and stuff.
yeah, it's fun, and also I think that we're supposed to work with our hands. We're not supposed to. We weren't made to like sit in little cubicle boxes and answer the phone and tap things on keypads. We were meant to touch the dirt and the earth and that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
we're
Well,
meant to
yeah, I
make
suppose it.
things, even if it's crap. Because like I do all these things, and by the way, I'm not actually particularly good at a lot of these things. But then I also think, well, do you know what? You don't have to be Van Gogh, and you don't have to be amazing at everything as long as you're enjoying it and it's fun. I think a lot of people nowadays don't do things because they're not good at them. They'll be like, oh, I can't paint, so I don't do it. You're like, tell a 5-year-old, like they're
Yeah,
enjoying
it
themselves
could never
painting.
be me. There's a game I've been playing for 7 years and I've won 5 matches on it. Like there's as long as you enjoy yourself, it's worth the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what advice then have you got for people that want to do you do, especially like students, sort of like late teens, early 20s, sort of what would you suggest if they're wanting to start a music career of their own?
I would say get as much experience as you can performing in front of audiences because that is absolutely invaluable. Um, Try to make friends with other creatives and other people that are doing what you want to do. Ask advice of them, try and work and collaborate with people. So, find out the genres that you're interested in and maybe work with other students that are doing like a music production course and just get a feel for creating music and deciding what you want. The earlier you figure out who you are as an artist and what that looks like, the easier it will be for you to kind of show that to the world. And I would say the other thing is making sure that you know what is out there in terms of like industry. So for me, I spent a lot of time going to like Talyard talks and stuff, which is where I found my publisher. Talyard, I think they've got one up north now as well, but they've got a base in London, and that's got lots of like it's a great musical hub, and it's just full of really wonderful resources with lots of different music agencies around. So try and get yourself involved in that sort of thing, and yeah, and just keep making music, keep writing, and don't be afraid to make mistakes and perform as much as you can.
Yeah, good advice. So basically, just get yourself out there as much as you can, is what I'm hearing, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So, for your personal journey, then, what would you say, like, if you had to eliminate all, I'm sure there's hundreds of them, but if you had to eliminate everything else and just pick one, what would you say has been the biggest challenge of your career so far?
Biggest challenge. Oh my gosh.
Or has there even been one?
I no, well, I mean, being a musician and or an artist and trying to support yourself is a pretty hard challenge because most of the time you will have to supplement your your art and music for a long time for me was just a very expensive hobby and until it wasn't and so there was a lot of that was a big challenge was trying to kind of like put as much time and effort into it as I possibly could whilst also trying to pay my bills um so yeah, I would say another bit, just going back to the advice thing, another thing would be to try and set yourself up as well as possible. If there is something that you can do now that will help create some form of passive income that can try and supplement the music, that is such an amazing thing to do. So try out things, see what works for you, and yeah, if you can have any form of like supplemented income that means that you don't have to still go out and you can still use your time to like create music and be working in the music industry, that is absolutely invaluable. What that looks like is different for many musicians, but yeah, that would be a really I wish I'd known that earlier.
Yeah, no, because people have to deal with Spotify's absolutely dreadful ad revenue that they
It's
don't they pay like peanuts, right? I don't know how they get away with it.
yeah, I mean for me like sync music, which is TV film music, that has been my saving grace. And I really, really hope that AI doesn't come in and replace all of us artists.
Don't get me started. Honestly, there's nothing. My blood boils when I hear those two letters next to each other. Like, it's
I think
infuriating.
I mean I think we're safe. I think there are elements of that will come into play, but I think that if you're an artist, at the end of the day, people want to consume music from real people, from people
Mhm.
that are telling real stories. Art is never going to be entrusted to a robot. However, I do think a lot of the big advertising things that would have ordinarily just gone to little artists will end up being shipped out to machines in things that
Yeah.
people don't care about as much. So that's annoying, but you know, I suppose there are also lots of pluses, you know. It's just we wanted the robots to come in and do the work that we didn't want to do. We didn't want them to come in
Not the stuff that's
not the
fun.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. We like doing the fun stuff. Leave
Yeah,
the
it's when
the
like
art.
AI generated art and stuff was getting big. I was like, I thought this was something we did, and I thought this was something we did because we
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway, setting all that aside, you've got the new song out very, very soon. You've got the album to follow. Is there anything else you're working on at the minute that you're allowed to promote, or is that as much as we can know for now?
That's as much as you're allowed to know for now. There is some exciting stuff, but until it's 100% set in stone, I'm not allowed to. My lips are sealed.
No one's given
Just
me an
say,
exclusive lately, honestly. This is terrible.
sorry.
Darn contracts and NDAs are my bane of my existence.
That's right. I said
Oh,
something
honestly.
the other day in an interview that I didn't realize I wasn't allowed to say, and then I got told that I needed to retract it and write a different. Could I have a different answer to the question? Luckily, it wasn't like a recorded one like this. It was she'd recorded it, but it was written down. So yeah, I got an email from my publisher being like, "Yeah, you know that thing that you mentioned about that thing. We're actually not allowed to talk about that thing that you did." And I was like, and they were like, "What's one of the
Whoops.
most unexpected things you've done?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got a great one." It's like it was a great story, and then I had to think of something that was not as cool. It was just like, damn
Yeah.
it.
Oh well. Well, exclusive or not, either way, it's been really great talking to you. It's been a really good time, and yeah, thanks for sharing as much as you have.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've really, really enjoyed it.